Paul's not riding this morning, so I'm heading out. There's a chance of rain. Based on the weather we've had, there's a very likely chance that there will be rain. So I've got my shoe covers on, and I've got my mud guards on the bike. Even if it doesn't rain, at least I'm covered. So I'm gonna go ahead and start everything here. Let's see.
Because the roads are still wet. It rained all night.
Start my light. It's a cloudy day right now, so we'll start the light here. Oh, I just realized I forgot my glasses. Gotta go get them. So it's kind of clear right now. The roads are dry, so it may not even rain at all. That's the reason I'm wearing my Asos S7.
The roads are dry at my house, but not out there.
I'm gonna wear my glasses that change, the kind of telephoto lenses, photochromic, I can call it, the transitions. So right now it's clear. You probably can't see much. There's no lighting here.
These lenses are perfect for cloudy days because you can wear them before the sun comes out.
So even if I don't hook up with a group, I will get some clips because they were iffy last night as to what they were doing. So I don't know if they're gonna ride. Let's get the computer going. Turn on that power meter.
Even though it's warm, I'm wearing my Asos base layer for hot weather beneath those midweight jerseys.
It's a little foggy, just light fog. I did my yard this week.
It's a warm 19 Celsius.
Looks pretty good.
I did my yard earlier in the week. That's another thing you can do to save money, because the money you save from paying somebody, you can use that to get cycling gear.
Not much wind right now, as you can tell from the flags. That was from the Memorial Day holiday. They always put out Old Glory in our neighborhood for the holidays.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rode into the Woodlands to pick up Team RR. Once I got there, we headed down on Egypt Road, went out Honia, Egypt, through the neighborhood on Great Lake Estates. Once we got outside on Keenan Cutoff Road, I ended up letting them go because the roads were wet, just to avoid that spray. So off camera, I hooked up with them at Taco Corner, but I've got enough clips on the way out to kind of give you suggestions on how to avoid getting all messy when you're riding on damp roads. And so we headed back together. I came back with them on Fish Creek Boulevard into the Woodlands. I took the long way home because I got back kind of early. The pace was faster than I normally ride, so it was a great workout. And I hope you enjoyed the clips I got for you. We're on Honia, Egypt Community Road. One of my favorite roads in the area. Some people consider it to be dangerous, not sure why. A lot of cyclists that are not comfortable riding on the roads worry about roads like these because there are no shoulders. A shoulder is not required for you to use the road. You have the right to use the road. So I'm riding a little to the left of Mark, and that's where you should ride, where the right tire of the cars ride. That's where I am. On a road like this, that's where you should be. That's Doug on my wheel. Paul is not riding today. He took the day off just to recuperate. I end up using the main road here. I'm not riding on the edge. I found a sweet spot that was not too bumpy. So I ride up to Mark, who's pulling as we head out. Because rain is expected, the turnout was, it was pretty good considering that they have been sending messages back and forth. they were not sure, you know, whether they would ride. So I just headed out, and once I got to Taco Corner, they were there. And then early in the morning, a little after 6 o'clock in the morning, they sent out a message saying that weather seemed okay, but we still encountered wet roads, and that's why this video is about how to stay dry. If you want to stay clean and dry, and I've got mud guards on my bike, then you don't need to be following others in the spray, because that's what gets you dirty. And that was the main thing. So you will see later in the ride, once the roads get wet, both Jerry and I fall off the pace, sit back, we chat a little bit, I let them go. And then off camera, they waited for me, but I told them, go ahead, I'll meet you at the store. And that's what I did. I did not ride with them once the road got wet. On the way back, the roads were drier after I met them at the store at Taco Corner. Then we rode back off camera together. But that's what gets you dirty. So if you want to stay clean and keep that crud off of you, then you need to ride solo when it's wet, or only with riders that have mud guards on their bikes to keep that spray off of you. If you're competing right now, you're like a racing cyclist, you can't control that, because in the race got to go on, and not everybody puts on mud guards. If that, on this side of the pond, nobody uses mud guards, I don't think. So that's the way. Been there, done that with the dirty water in my face. So at this point, I ride strictly for the love of my bike and cycling. I go ahead and roll through after Mark pulls over to the side there, just to maintain the pace. We got a good sized group for this day. But that's the key, and that's why a lot of cyclists avoid riding in the rain, because of the spray and then the cleanup afterwards. So because of my shoes being covered in the mud guards, I was clean, and all I had to do was just wipe my tubes, the main tubes of the frame, and it was ready for the next ride. Cleanup is less. As you can hear, the conditions are, the wind's in our face. We're heading down. This is somewhat of a downhill. Gonna get more of a downhill. That's Doug there again. I'm getting the camera situated. We're just starting the workout. I'm in zone 2. That's where I spent most of this ride, was zone 2. On the way back though, we went really hard. And next time we'll get that on film. Look at the water. That's from all the rains we've had. The rain's been spread out, so we knew this road would be clear, because this road gets covered when there's a lot of rain. I move over, I check for traffic in the mirror, and I look behind. And then I go ahead and take a shot of everybody. See Jerry saying good morning. That's Jerry Lutner there. Jerry's on our Strava club. He's one of the leaders every day in mileage and distance travel. That's Bob. And this is Austin. And then Mark. John Haynes is behind me, but he's a bit out of shape, so he's just hanging on the back. He's going to do his own thing in a few kilometers. That's John there. He tells us when we get the Grand Lakes, you may even hear it on camera, he says, don't wait for me, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to go the same route you guys are doing. So he's just kind of hanging with us as we head out. But this pace is a little faster than he needs to go right now for his fitness. And so he's just going to hang till we get to the gate for the Grand Lakes Estates. Yeah, a piece of the new pavement there is kind of chipped, so it's got a little bit of a lip. And with the conditions as they are, we are going kind of fast. We're doing about 22, 23 miles an hour. Going uphill and into the wind. Kind of a ninja grade, up to maybe 3% we'll encounter on this road. I like these kind of roads. You can ride for about, on this one, probably 13 kilometers before you need to stop if you go straight on this road. If not more. I mean, it just goes all the way to 2854 with no need to stop when you're going in this direction, north or south. We're going north right now. So you can get a good workout on these kind of roads. Like if you want to do threshold work, you come on a road like this, you can ride for quite a few minutes before you need to start. Probably 10 to 15 minutes. There's several Strava segments that people have set up in both directions. It goes up here, you can see it says 2%. I did not have really great legs on this ride because on Thursday I did a long ride, broken up, you know, some in the morning, some in the evening, some on the trainer. So my legs were tired on this ride. So you have to monitor those kind of things to know how much recovery you need based on the workout you've done and what's going on with you during each week is always different, so that you will know when it's time to make sure you're fresh for your big events. I got my shoe covered. You can see most of these guys don't have shoe covers on. I cover my shoes because it's easier to just take a rag and wipe down the cover, because once the roads get damp, you get spray on your shoes. And it's a lot easier to just clean the cover with a rag than to clean the shoe. So whenever there's a question of are the roads going to be damp, I put on my lightweight covers, not winter covers. I've talked about it on our live sessions. You need to have different covers for different times of the year. I moved left to take the main road. I didn't ride on the edge. And so I just found a smooth spot on that graded surface. But what I was saying was that you need to have covers that are for mild weather. You can see it says 20 Celsius. That's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's a warm 70 degrees, but we have high humidity. It's not cool. It's a mild day. So you don't need any cold weather shoe covers. And you need something that's easy to clean. You don't want shoe covers that will be a pain to clean. That's the whole point. So I'm wearing the Asos S7 because the surface of it is almost like a light rubbery fabric, but it breathes really well. So it doesn't feel like I'm wearing a cover. But then you get home and you just wipe it down with a damp rag and you're good as gold. Minimizes the time spent cleaning up after the ride, which is the main reason people avoid riding in the wet, other than the spray they're going to get from other riders. So when it's wet, I like to just ride alone or ride with Paul. Road's going up here. I stay a little to the left for visibility, mainly because and then the edge of the road, you got those little reflectors, so you got to pay more attention. So by staying on the left, I'm right in the middle of the lane here. It's smoother right there. That little track you see, it's a different color. It's kind of lighter. That's where I'm riding. You learn that just from, you know, we always ride on this road. You get to know. So if I have to use the lane, that's where I ride when it's possible in those corners. So I'm in zone 3, sitting in the bunch. So it's a good pace they're holding.
Okay.
He said the car turned, but then I looked in my mirror and there were 2 or 3 more.
Car's back.
So I told him more.
Way to go, John!
He was saying he was looking for John, and John said, "Don't worry about me." And he said, "Way to go, John." John's training's off. He has not been putting in the cave, so he's probably just. So for him, this is like his base period. Everybody's got a different kind of training going on at different times of the year. So he's doing his base. So yeah, a lot of times when I used to compete, I rode by myself until I got in decent condition, and then used the group to tune my fitness. That's really what you have to do sometimes, depending on what the group's doing. There's a bunch of cars behind us. There's a truck behind us. And so we pick the lane, we let him know we're turning. It turns out he's turning in here too. This is Grand Lake Estates Drive. The community is called Grand Lake Estates. The gate's closed. We have the code, but since he's turning, we let him activate the gate. Jerry was going to enter the code. Jerry knows the code. In a little while, John tells us he's going to do his own thing.
No, you've made it this far.
I'm going, but I'm gonna do your own thing.
We're going, you know where Spring Branch is, right, John?
So I says, are you going to do your own thing? And he said, yeah. Mark's trying to talk him into continuing, but John knows that he's not ready to ride at this pace. And when you're not conditioned, you're not going to get in shape faster. You might set yourself back if you ride too far above your level. So what he's doing is really smart. He realizes that we're just warming up and the pace is fast. So Mark's telling him, and I told him let the car go, but John's going to back off, and I tell him how, you know.
Spring Branch.
What they're saying is Spring Branch used to be called the Tri-Lakes Road. That's the area.
I did have to see the 3 lakes though.
That's what I'm telling Mike S5 on my right. That's Doug on the right there. Mike S5 right. I said I'm yet to see the 3 lakes.
Our reservoirs, or what do you call them? Retention ponds become lakes.
Yeah, in our area, every community has a retention pond to slow down the water that accumulates from these heavy rains, you know, that leads to flooding. So there's a delay. The retention ponds help to store the water, so not everything's rushing into the sewers at the same time. And we call them lakes, because some of them are designed like lakes, and they're nice, they're pretty. That's what we're talking about. So John lets us go here, and he's going to just do his own thing, and he may probably have just gone from here straight to Taco Corner. So there's a bit of a hiatus right now. You know, sometimes you get up and you're not feeling great. You do what he did. You start with the group. You don't feel like yourself. Let them go. You don't have to hang in, or you sit in and see how long you can hang before your form deteriorates. You don't want to be pedaling squares. You're not teaching yourself anything. So he's giving himself a chance to get conditioned.
Oh, okay. I was listening to Bob asking for Randy. I'm like, Randy wasn't with us.
Yeah, Bob was asking if Randy's there or whatever. Randy didn't start with us. Randy did not ride on his ride, so I'm not sure why he was asking for Randy.
Okay.
So this road leads to another road when we exit the rear gate called the Hills Parkway. And it's simply called that because there's 4 or 5 rollers within a kilometer and a half. They're just all packed. It's a good place to come and get a workout.
That's like his shifting is not properly adjusted.
We're talking about Mark's bike is very noisy here. And we can hear it clicking and making all kinds of noises. So when you have noises from your bike, investigate. Something's wrong. Something's off. You will hear him tell us in a few kilometers, probably 6 kilometers or more, when we stop at Keenan Cutoff, that he forgot to tighten his skewer, and that was one of the sources of the noise. And we get to see Doug's new bike. Doug has a bike, a gravel bike made by Triple T, that he brought on this ride. I got to see it for the first time, so I just kind of showed it on film while they're talking about it. It's a nice looking bike, but he's got road wheels on. He's got 2 sets of wheels, which is very smart. He's got gravel wheels because it has really good clearance. Well, I think he runs a 35 or bigger tire on that wheel set, and then this has his road wheels for this ride. The pace is not easy. Somebody at the front is pushing hard. I mean, I'm not working very hard, but I'm at the top of zone 3, and you look at Mark. He's sprinting to get his gear rolling. So we're moving at a good clip. So most of this ride, it was a good workout, and then I came back with them, so very good workout. That's why John decided to let us go. You can see we're doing about 24, 25 miles an hour. And this is not a tailwind stretch. nice tight pace line. This is why it's hard to ride in a group when it's wet, because that rooster tail, it just sprays, and because we're going into the wind, when the roads get wet, you will see it in a few kilometers. I go ahead and give them a little more room, and then it just continued to get wetter and wetter once we got on Spring Branch Road. So you have two things you could do. If you're riding with a group and you feel like it, you give them enough of a gap to stay out of the spray and try to hold the group pace. I wasn't in the mood to do that on this ride. My legs did not feel great. I still felt tired from the week's work. So I decided to let them go, drop the pace a little bit. I could still see them, but I just held my own pace into the initial stop at the store, Taco Corner. So Doug pulls off the front. You'll see his frame when he comes back. I don't know if I get a good shot of it here, but in a few kilometers we'll stop because Mark's rear wheel is rubbing on brakes or something like that, and he stops to fix that. But if you look at Doug's frame here, that's the new Triple T 3T frame. They call it a gravel bike, but other than the fact that it has more clearance, I mean, there's nothing different about it than a road bike because it doesn't have suspension. And you hear him say that. I just show the stats here. We're going up a hill. It probably gets at 4% a little while there. It's steep. That guy blew his horn because people behind me are riding as if they wanted to get into that lane. I just stayed here. I go over the little dirt patch. That washes from the right when it rains. The dirt is coming on the road. When you go over dirt like that, it looks like sand. You want to make sure your hands are on the bars. Just in case it swallows your wheel a little bit, you will be able to control your handling. Because our tires don't like a lot of dirt. I have 25s on this bike, so they're pretty big. But those 23s are smaller. They knife through a lot of sand, and it can just stop you quicker than you're expecting. So you never want to go through dirt or gravel without your hands on the bike. You're ready to deal with the handling challenges. All I do is I stay close here as we go up. I'm right at sweet spot. And that's how I know I'm tired. Because at this effort, normally I should be in zone 2. And I'm already at sweet spot. So my body's a little tired. I don't think I got enough rest. So you should be able to tell. So in a situation like this, this is not the day to take a lot of long pulls. You can sit in and try to be a little more conservative in your riding when you're not 100%. Even if you're competing in a stage race. If you're tired from the prior efforts, that's not the day to do a lot of work. You have to listen to your body. That's the way we train. When you get up in the morning, you check your vitals and your resting heart rate and all of that. That will determine whether the planned workout goes as planned if it's a hard day. If you get up tired, then you change the plan and you drop the effort for that day's workout. You can ride, but you can still make it a rest day on the bike. Because I'm tired, I'm staying very close to minimize the effort I put out. The reason I decided to stay with the group even though I'm tired is because this effort is tolerable. I'm still riding well, my form is good, but I know I'm tired. It's not the watts that's making me tired. It's just my overall feel. My body does not feel rested. There's not a day to put out 1,000 watts, you know. So I'm just sitting in. My plans to just sit in. The ironic thing about it is Jerry and I talked in a little while. I don't know if they're probably off camera. And he told me he was tired too. He wasn't feeling great, and so he was riding slower. He did not come back with us. I think he did a little more than we did. So Jerry knows how to listen to his body. That's the benefit of having a training plan and having somebody guide you when you're new in cycling. You need to know how to train and when to really go for your top efforts. You have to tune in. The reason you do that is if you have a race coming up, then you will know how many days of rest, what kind of workout to do before that big event, so you get there ready to ride your best. That's the key. You want to avoid just riding around and hoping to get in shape. You need to make it more specific, so it's more of a science. We approach the exit gate, and then somebody will say there's a car coming behind us. So we figure we can use that car to get through the gate. So as we go downhill, I back off a little bit, give a little bit of room, and use the wind to slow me down. I drift to Mark's side. Those bumps are not too bad. They're spread out nicely, so they work. They're easier on the bicycle than they are on cars. The road goes up. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear Mark's bike squeaking. All that metallic noise you're hearing, that's coming from his bike and right in front of me here. Somebody said there's a car behind us, so this allows us to not have to climb because the pad is not on this side, the access pad. So we drift to the opposite lane so the car can go by, and I think Mike S5 or someone waves the driver through in a little bit, but we don't have to stop. It's only in this direction where they don't have a pad on the inside. This is the exit of the Grand Lake Estates neighborhood. This is where the name changes. The road becomes the Hills Parkway. It's a different community. This road on the left dead ends as a cemetery road called Collier Cemetery. It's a nice little climb up here. As soon as you get out of there, it probably gets to like 4 or 5%. It gets there in a hurry. Percent. Yeah, it gets about 5% from you. In both directions, there's a bump. When you're coming the other way, you feel it too.
You're the guy to follow if it starts raining with those fenders.
Yeah, this guy said you're the guy to follow when it starts raining with those fenders. I get that a lot, but nobody else thinks to put fenders on their bikes. So I tell him I don't like to get dirty. It's the guy with the light speed bicycle, a Lightspeed titanium frame. He said, you're the guy to follow when it gets wet with those fenders. Yeah, well, who do I get to follow? That's why I let them go. So a lot of times when I leave the house and it's raining, it's either Paul and I or I ride solo. I don't seek out a group. There's no point to it. Even on the way back with the roads very dry, I still got a little bit of spray on my head unit and so forth and so on. But, you know, you go over the patches of water. But the roads were mostly dry coming back. Just like there are right here. In a little bit, they will start getting a little more damp. And once that happens during a ride like this, I start drifting to the left or falling back off the wheel to just avoid getting that spray. You get spray and grit and stuff in your face, all that. It's just a mess. There is no reason to put up with that. And those who don't use mud guards, under the saddle, your saddle gets wet and a lot of grit. If you have a leather saddle, that grit can chew into your leather and it can shorten the life of your saddle cover. So yeah, there's a lot of headaches with riding in the rain without the proper gear for you and your bicycle. There is no reason to ride bare like that. We're going up here. My threshold power is like 3 something. I haven't tested in a long time, but maybe 320 to 350 or something like that. And so a lot of times when I ride, I'll ride between 250 watts and 350. Just looking at the data, I don't look at that when I'm riding. I don't have the power meter on every bike. I just put it on whatever bike I'm going to use for the filming. But when I'm sitting in a bunch, most of the time it's about 150 to 200 and something like that, like it is right now. Taking advantage of the draft. But I mostly do feel. I prefer feel, and then second I prefer heart rate because I like to pay attention to how my body is feeling. And regardless of what watts I'm putting out today, I just feel like meh. If you know what I mean, like one of those days. Because like you get out, you're like, how was the ride? And you say, you know, I finished the ride. It was one of those hard to get out the door days. This road is called the Hills Parkway. You can see in the distance it's up and down. It's a beautiful road in both directions, just up and down. I think there are more challenging hills in the opposite direction than we're going now. But towards the end, going towards Keenan Cutoff, it's just a succession of rollers. Yeah, I'm telling you, I moved to the left here because the road's getting a little wet. You see a little film of water on the lens. The road's damp. We missed the rain. It didn't rain on us, but it already rained. Jerry asked me what route we're taking. I told him we're going to go to 105 Spring Branch, 105 then to Taco Corner. Because we met Jerry on the road. He wasn't in the parking lot, so he didn't hear the route being announced. This is where Mark's going to stop to fix his rubbing brakes or something that's making noise. And we get to see Doug's new frame in a little more detail. There's a car back, so what we do is we stop in the middle space that the median provides. So we're out of traffic and we're not blocking anyone. We're going to turn left once Mark's done. Mark lets us know he has to stop.
Use one lane. We're going to stop.
So I tell everybody to use one lane so we're not annoying everybody else.
Except the right one. The front wheel.
What's wrong, Mark? Other than the noises? Yeah.
Oh, I found out what that was.
Creak, creak, creak.
My back wheel was not locked into my frame. I found that out on Tuesday.
You know, Mark?
You guys. That's so basic.
So once I got that fixed,
You're supposed
Yeah,
to do
that's what
that.
Mark said. Because on another ride, he had all these
You and
noises.
Jerry.
That's what he's
Jerry
talking
had
about.
the same
That's
thing.
Doug's frame right
oh,
there.
what is that noise?
Triple T.
Was the brake rubbing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's not like you
So
need
Mark
any
said his
extra
brakes were rubbing.
work.
Yeah, so you need any extra. You don't. It's not like you need extra resistance on a windy day like
Very
this.
nice.
50th birthday
So we're
present.
talking about Doug's frame here, the Triple
You're
T
only
gravel
50?
bike.
What is it?
So Doug said he got it for his 50th birthday. So Mark says you're only 50. It's a 3T gravel bike. I
reminds
want
me
to
of the
film
Dale
it. I think I
Earnhardt
go
frame.
to the side and I film it. I don't know if I got another view of it.
What's a gravel bike? So I can put, I have two wheel sets. Road wheel set and then a gravel wheel set.
Oh, so they're the first to put the same frame together for both.
I mean, look at the clearance.
Yeah, I saw that. It was right behind you. I was like, that's cool.
You can put 60.
I don't know if I filmed the clearance he's talking about. There's a lot of clearance on the
I was
frame.
waiting for somebody to do that.
It, it's a disc bike, of course, but so he's running road tires on these wheels that are on the bike, and then he says he has a gravel wheel set as well, so he can use it for both. He's got those rally pedals on there, the cross pedals. That's what he's riding today.
Make a difference.
It came with 35 tires and it's really smooth.
So he said it came with 35 road tires. So he says 40 psi in the 35s. Yeah, for gravel, yeah, you need low pressure. They're more comfortable. And then he said that, well, the bike doesn't have suspension or anything, but it's okay. So that's a good thing. If you're going to do both of those disciplines, that's a perfect frame for that. So when you're on the road, you just change the wheel set. Someone had asked about it on one of our live sessions, so that was another reason I filmed the frame. I ride up to these guys. We're headed towards 149 here.
Road's getting wet. Staying out of
Yeah,
that spray.
it's getting wetter, and so what I do is I back off a little bit, let them come through. I wave them up because I am not planning on getting dirty today. That's another jerk. These guys with the diesel trucks, they come by and they step on the gas, and you get nothing but diesel fumes in the air. Makes no sense. I hope their engine falls out one of these times. It's just dumb. It's like, you're just wasting energy. We just ignore them. We don't, that's what you do with stupid people. Don't give them the time of day. So this part of the road is getting a little drier, so I ride back up. I think Jerry's behind. Jerry always hangs back, and he just rides at a steadier pace. He gets on his aero bars, but he keeps the group close. And when he decides, he'll ride up to the group. So I ride up to the group here. Just as I get there, the road's going up. It's about 3% or so. I just maintain the effort the same. You can see I'm 300 and some watts. This is the effort I train in most of the time anyway. So for me, it's not anything unusual, but it should feel a lot easier than it feels on this ride, which confirms that my body is tired. Not just from the workout. We have to stop. There's a fire station, and this guy is going on some emergency thing, so we pretty much did a hard stop there. I don't mind the rain at all. They can keep the heat. The summers down here are very hot. And so how we tolerate it is we leave 5 in the morning, because in about a few weeks, it will be daylight earlier and earlier, and so we'll leave earlier. Somebody's going hard at the front, so we're working 400 plus watts. So when you're in a group and you're not feeling great, stay close, draft closely, save your energy. It's not the day to really push your body at your highest levels. That's how you can rest and still get a chance to recuperate. So everybody does different things on every ride. And that's why you have to pay attention on how you feel. If it's not you're not at your best, then you back off. Let your body recuperate. I still ended up riding harder than this on the way back, but I knew when to let them go. When we're getting back into town, Doug went harder than the guy who was pulling up the last climb coming up on Fish Creek southbound. We chased him down, caught him. Then they decided to go even harder. Well, being tired, I decided I'm just going to let them go. I kept them in sight and just kept my effort the same. That's kind of what you do. We're already in town, so I figure, why am I putting myself into the red unnecessarily on a day where I'm tired anyway? So I kept myself right at threshold for me, which allowed me to just stay within range. That's the way you have to decide how you dose out your effort. So I only worked as hard as was necessary, which was still pretty hard, but I did not get into my red zone. I got up to like 175 beats per minute, which is right around my threshold area. And your threshold changes as you get fitter. But I could tell my legs got tighter earlier. Usually at 175 they're not very tight, but because I was tired, they got tighter. So I just stayed right there in that area. You can see we're just riding along almost at 25 miles an hour. The wind is coming from the right in our face. There's a slight downhill here. If you notice as the road gets drier, I get closer in the draft. I drift back a little bit from time to time because there's a lot of yo-yo effect when you ride in a group. And what I do is I try to avoid dropping my cadence too much. So if you look at my RPM, it went to 0 because I just stopped pedaling. Right here, we're going downhill. There's no reason to pedal. I drift to the right here as Austin goes to the left. Then I get back on this wheel. I get sucked along. Now I'm pedaling. So I back off when there's a lot of yo-yo so I don't have to react too quickly. It's almost like when you're driving and you're told to follow a few seconds behind the next vehicle, so you're not reacting too quickly. You do that in certain terrain, like flat the rolling, especially when it's going downhill. The faster you're going downhill, give the riders in front of you a little more room because you're going fast anyway. We're coming up to 149, and it's rained out here on 149, so we start to experience wet pavement. This is the FM 149. We're going to turn right to get on Spring Branch Road. Yeah, Jerry was sitting behind me the whole time. Now he comes around. In a few kilometers, we get onto Spring Branch Road and it's just wet. It must have been a serious downpour that we missed. So on days like these where it may not be raining on you at the moment, but it has rained recently, like well into the early morning hours, you need to protect yourself because that's what gets you dirty. It's not the rain, it's the water on the road. The water mixed with the sand and mud and grit and all that stuff, that's what gets sprayed on your drivetrain, your shoes, and your
Hang it
rear.
back a bit. It's gonna be fast down this hill.
They appear a little further than they actually are. I just drifted back maybe a car length and a half since I know this thing goes downhill and it really picks up. So I don't have to use brakes or anything. You will see how easily I catch back up. You see the water from that car? It's been raining here. Road's wet. You will see some dots of moisture on the lens. You can see because of the downhill, I'm just sitting in my standard road position and it just brings me up to Jerry. My heart rate dropped in zone 1, even though I'm pedaling at 100 RPM. So when you're fit, you can recover. So even though I don't feel great, my body is still functioning due to my fitness and my training, functioning well. I just know that I'm hot. I have not rested enough from the week's activities, not just training, just everything else. So the day after this ride, I did not ride in the morning. I waited till later where I considered riding. I let them know it's clear. I'd use my mirror and I just take the lane because we're going to be turning in about 200 meters. You see the water on the road. It just rained here. So when we turn on Spring Branch Road, we realize, yeah, we may have missed the rain, but it just dumped everything here. It's wet. And the spray coming from Austin right there. You see how I move over to Jerry? It's not any better. It is wet. And that's what gets you dirty.
If it gets too wet, I'm gonna let them go.
So I can see further down the road and it's just getting wetter and wetter. And up until this road ends, the whole stretch is wet. Quite a bit of it I did off camera because I went ahead and let them go. I'm riding on the white line here.
I'm just gonna hang back, man. This is too, yeah, I'm just gonna hang back. Yeah. This is like, that stuff gets all sprayed on there.
It looks like we're heading into the rain.
Yeah. The wind's blowing it. Man,
So this is where I let them go. I hope you got a chance to get some K's in, but this is part of what I did on Saturday.
We're riding into it. Shit. Supposed to be here
Yeah,
around
the
noon.
you can see the storm in the distance. The dark clouds at the bottom of those white clouds. There's a storm out there drifting from the north to the east. That's what we're talking about. In a little while, Jerry would say he's in easy mode. Jerry had COVID-19, so he recovered, but he still says that he's in easy mode.
But I see it.
You hear me tell him, well, it leaves stuff behind after you recover from it. You're not 100% for a bit. So he's probably still dealing with the remnants of what COVID does to your body.
Yeah. I kind of got myself in that easy mode.
He said he's in his easy mode.
Every now and then you have to listen to your body. But depending on what else is going on, you're just in a mood, and it's actually better to let your body kind of get off your peak.
Yeah, Rob. I've done a lot of that this year.
Well, you've been ill, so.
So he said he's done a lot of that,
You know,
a lot of
what I
easy
read
rides, but
about,
that's what he probably
it
needs
leaves
until he's
remnants
100%.
behind. And some
But
people
you
have
can
to
see
deal
we
with
just
it
let
for
them
2
go,
months.
and we just kind of
So,
rode
you're
off
not
camera.
sure
They
what you're
waited
doing.
for me,
Yeah,
but then I
this
told
is
them to go. I would
really
meet them at the store.
Yeah.